Welcome to Theory Thursday. Today we're going to be talking about voice leading. It's one of the most important tools you can use to make your chord progressions sound more natural. Let's get into it. So let's start with what voice leading is. Voice leading is when notes in a chord progression move smoothly from one chord to the next. So let's take, for example, a 2-5-1 in C major. Right now, this chord progression is using standard block voicings. Every chord in the progression is in root position and is being built triadically. This makes the transitions between chords sound pretty jarring, so let's try and fix that. First, let's add a second staff and spread everything out. Everything is still in root position, but it already sounds better because now the upper voices aren't moving in a block. Now, let's add inversions into the mix. Now every voice in the chord progression is always moving by a whole step or less each chord change. This makes the chord changes sound much smoother than the original block voices we started with. Generally speaking, notes that move by a whole or half step in between chords are going to sound pretty smooth. Notes that move by a fourth or fifth can give a sense of finality. Especially in a bass line, fourths and fifths can be just as effective as whole and half step motion. There are two main ways I like to use voice leading when writing music. The first way is like we just did, taking already established chord progressions and changing the notes in order to have smooth voice leading. The second way is using reharmonization, where I take a melody and then build chords around that using smooth voice leading to make the chords sound better. For instance, let's take this melody. Now this melody on its own doesn't seem like it would be very fit to harmonize, but let's add a bass line and see what we can do. For this example, I made the bass line completely chromatic, but in real life your bass line would probably have a mix of whole steps, half steps, fourths, and fifths. Really anything is going to work here as long as your ear is fine with it. At this point we can start filling in the chords. I like to make choices based off what the melody and bass could imply, but as long as your inner voices are moving smoothly, anything will work. So, here's the final product. The chords don't make sense from a functional point of view, but since the voice leading is smooth, it's still pleasant to listen to. Now that we've made this melody work with these unusual chords, let's try hearing the chords in block voicings to see how important the voice leading really is. No thanks.